Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Here I am in my home office, my home really, in North London, and I'd like to welcome you to here. As you can see, it's dark already in North London anyway. Maybe in South London the sun is still shining, but I'd really like to welcome you to this session. Now, my name is Berlin Batsu, as you might be able to see on screen, but I'm actually just one of a team that's here. I have some of my colleagues from North and Central London branches of the BCS here with me. For example, I have David Grundy, who is our secretary. I have Iraj Irafar, who is on the Central London Committee, and I have a number of other colleagues from North and Central London branches with me. Of course, this session is not about us, it's actually about Claudio Cilli. And he is there, you can see his picture on the screen, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about him. But firstly, let me give you my usual comic introduction to this session. I am really pleased to welcome you here. And I know that it's not only people from the UK who join us at these sessions, but also from many other countries. I can see the number of people who are actually here is increasing all the time. Now, just to let you know, we actually had 415 registrations for this event. So we are really keen to know how many people will actually attend. Now you are doing so. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But I'd like to ask you something about you before we get going. And that is, if you are not from the UK, then please just write in on the chat and tell us where you're from. Where are you? I don't mean where are you from, meaning your background. I mean, where are you from right now? Where are you tuned in from right now if you're not in the UK? People in the UK are, of course, incredibly welcome, but it would be of interest to see which other countries we have people from. Now, I have to thank you for another reason, because I believe there's at least one other big international event going on today. And whilst we're biding our time, waiting for this webinar to start and waiting to see who comes up trumps in the US elections, I just hope that we don't have anybody here who's betting too many pence on that election and is in fact going to look for a peaceful outcome with no harassment of voters and so on. So despite all of that, you're here, and I see the numbers are still going up. So you're obviously immune to my bad jokes and so on. But I would like to welcome another international figure today, and that is, of course, Professor Claudio Cilli. Now, Claudio, I would like to tell you a little bit about. Claudio, please look the other way or whatever, whilst I just tell a few things to our audience about you. Claudio is at the University of Rome, Sapienza, which is a very prestigious institution. Professor Cilli is a recognized world-leading authority. His specific areas, his specialities are national security and intelligence, company protection, information system security, and compliance. He's got over 25 years of experience, and he currently advises governments and international companies in the cybersecurity and critical infrastructure areas. So if you're a critical infrastructure area, you need to get to know Claudio. And if you're responsible for one, please tell your colleagues who are responsible. He also, I think, spent some time as a university professor and researcher, and although we're trying not to give him any time for that. He's also a member of scientific and advisory boards. He's a teacher on postgraduate master's degree courses in computer security and IT governance. So very much a security and governance professional. But he's also more than that. He's a consultant to the US government. and to companies which supply the Department of Defense. He's a consultant also at the United Nations. Wow, we are extremely pleased to have you here, Claudio. With many big firms, he's responsible for information systems audit and security projects, which include civil and military sections. Also software quality and also code security. He's very much into security at the information systems and installation levels. And he's designed and implemented systems based on mainframes and distributed architecture, including disaster recovery and both data and physical security, information and data protection. Well, I hope we don't have any disasters or need for disaster recovery today. Our fingers are crossed, especially for our video to come through really well today. But as well as all of that, Claudio has become a very good friend of ours, and he is a fellow now. He's a fellow of the BCS. He's an FBCS and also a BCS assessor. So indeed, a tremendous commitment. And by the way, he's not here. He's actually speaking to us from his home office in Rome. Okay, well, what a person. We are very, very fortunate to have you here with us, Claudio. And I'd like to just remind you, please do send in on the chat which country, which city you're in. If you're not in the UK, would be especially interested in that. And after Claudio's talk, which will last, I predict, about 5 hours, but Claudio assures me, because it's fascinating, but Claudio assures me it will take about an hour. And there will be some time, a little time for questions. And following that, if we have time, we'll try and spend just a minute to open up to people who want to spend just a minute talking about themselves. We're scheduled to end at 8 o'clock. We may overrun if there is sufficient interest in doing so, but I know that the most fascinating thing of all is going to be our talk on the Internet of Things by Professor Claudio Cilli. Please join me in welcoming Claudio.
Thank you, Darren. Welcome and good evening to everybody. After this stunning presentation, I think we can end the webinar because it's very embarrassing for me to talk after this fantastic presentation that Darren did. Anyway, when I was asked to make a presentation, I had to find which topics, and at the end I tried to find something half interesting, half scaring, and half funny. I hope you don't have a washing machine and a self-driving car, because I'll teach you how to dismount both directly from my home. Let's start. First of all, it's important to understand the sentence here. If you do or not, you can say as well, because I will not use technical terms. This is Florence, my favorite city in Italy. Let's start from the beginning and try to define what the IoT is. In fact, we don't know what the IoT. But the name IoT is confusing. It doesn't mean anything. There are several definitions on regarding the IoT. None are enough to explain what the mysterious things are surrounding us. Data definition, a proposed development of the internet in which everyday objects have network connectivity, allowing to send and receive data. In fact, they do connect each other, but it's not the only thing to make and consider a device part of the Internet of Things world. it's far beyond the simple connectivity. It's a mixture of intelligence, capabilities, connectivity, sensor. In other words, an Internet of Things is something able to change our life. This is the definition I prefer. In fact, there are various names. No one is complete. Some are funny. Machine to machine, maybe. Internet of everything, probably, but internet is not the only thing. Bruce Snyder, the father of the modern cryptography, defined IoT as world-size web. Interesting. Then we have the Terminator movie, Skynet. That's one. Those are Internet of Things as well. But IoT is far beyond the hype because it's not so useful as we care. Internet of Things everywhere. They are intended to make our lives easier through the connection. The connection is the magic word. Internet of Things is on our pockets, on our wrists, watches, smart watches, sensors to check your healthcare, your heart rate when you do gym, refrigerators able to check the internal temperature, plus some funny applications. For example, here we have a Samsung refrigerator with a monitor, a computer. You can send and receive emails from your refrigerator. Don't ask me why you need to stay in front of refrigerator doors to send an email or to use Word or a notepad, but you can, because this is a PC, plus some other features. Next, we have the healthcare. Interesting, useful, complete, but there's a dark side even. Let's go to the dark side of the IoT. This is an example of the power of IoT, the ideal smart internet school. We have a typical classroom with several computers connected to internet. We have an automatic broomer. We have the internet connecting the recreation area, the cafeteria, a classroom, student using textbooks, no paper, no pen, the robot cleaning, virtual reality in the laboratories, everything. Why this picture? You can't enumerate the number of CPUs inside this modern school. There are thousands, more than 1,000. Not less than 10,000 different computers, CPUs, are inside this example. In fact, this is the future of IoT. Amazon already did something. You maybe are familiar with the Amazon buttons. There are magnetic buttons to stick on your refrigerator. When you press the button, automatically an order is placed to the Amazon platform to get the detergent or milk or whatever. The future is the refrigerator automatically remind you what to buy or buys goods for you. That's the future. Actually, is imaginary. I don't know how imaginary is or how real it is, This is the real future IT. This is the European Union project where some funds, a lot of funds, have been dedicated to the development of an circular city, meaning everything is self-contained, no waste, no efficient use of energy, no pollution, etc. We have a lot of sensors, the red dots. Each is connected to the others, sending and receiving data, sharing data for a better management of the whole city. This is a real future. Everything, those sensors are already available. What we need now is just to put them working in a pilot city, for example, and some projects are already ongoing. Again, this comes from the EU Commission. Security, utility management, car to car. When people ask me what I think about the 5G, my answer is a great opportunity for hackers, because not everything is so clear as it appears. A lot of bad guys are there, because the connectivity, bandwidth, computing power represent a great opportunities and an extremely opportunity, an extreme opportunity for for doing not good things. Then there's the future wireless. Many cities, there are several, including the town where I live, Rome. You can connect to internet while in your car. Those antennas are repeaters, this one, and this is the main router connected to internet, to the World Wide Web. Using your car Bluetooth, you connect to the closest antenna and establish the internet connection. When the car moves, you lose the connection to the previous antenna and get a connection to the next antenna. All antennas are synchronized through the Zigbee protocol, and you don't lose your connection. You can continue listening to the radio or downloading a file. It's a reality. Everything is based upon connectivity. You may say there are so many applications of Internet of Things because they are devices able to do almost everything. How you can produce and define those things? I mean, I suppose all PCs, all pieces of hardware inside any Internet of Things device are different. This is not true. The operating systems and the processor brands are very few, and you can enumerate. The biggest part is Android, plus some others who are specialized operating system for most IoT devices. Why I'm telling this to you? For a simple reason. This is Smart TV. You can use the TV to play, to watch YouTube, to play games, to listen to music, to buy and perform some e-commerce while watching a movie or the television itself. There's a processor inside. There's an Android processor inside this TV. The same processor is inside other devices. Again, what the result is? First, in terms of security, IoT is on the first place. IoT is more dangerous than cloud computing, mobile, web, etc. Actually, the greatest challenge for security professionals is represented by the IoT devices. It is what I want to show you. This is the bad part. We have a guy who built a very nice sensor using an Arduino, able to catch every keystroke you do on your keyboard while the keyboard is a Wi-Fi keyboard or a wireless keyboard. Using the Arduino. The same processor, the same Arduino board can hack all USB connections. But the same board is able to unlock your garage door and open and close the door at his leisure using the same thing. Very easy to do that. You can do very bad things. This is the headers rack. This is a baby monitor who has been hacked a couple of years ago, showing to the mother different picture of his kid, scaring her because the hack made this poor lady believing his kid died. Is that due to a lack of breath, typical in the from small kids. Then we have the famous stamp hacking. Those two guys, which I personally met, will describe you the result of the famous Chrysler remote hacking. Why to be concerned about IoT? IoT is not just on a computer. We have the same issues with our standard computer, same vulnerabilities, plus the huge number of devices surround you. Only if a single compromised device within this number is enough to act and put your entire network in danger. That's why IoT are insecure. Does it have additional risks? Yes, because they are portable, because we don't know where they are. We don't know what's the network perimeter. We know nothing about where. It's just impossible to enumerate the devices in your house. It's important to be reliable. Hacking a netcare device results in a terrible effect. So let's start from the beginning. And from now on, I'll demonstrate to you how easy it is to hack a device. Let's start from my washing machine. A couple of years ago, I had my washing machine broken. It was quite old, 2 or 3 years. I called the technician, expected a big man coming with a lot of tools to dismount the washing machine. Instead, a very thin man arrived wearing a uniform like a soldier. What he did is to use a very small screwdriver. He opened the front panel of the broken washing machine without asking what happened. He didn't want me to explain the problem on my washing machine and replace the motherboard. After 5 minutes, he sold me 300 pounds, leaving the so-broken motherboard of the washing machine. That's one. I was very angry. You can figure how angry I was, spending 300 pounds after only 5 minutes. So I decided to go inside and check what happened. This motherboard appeared to be a custom motherboard designed for this particular my washing machine brand. But scratching on this tool, on this unit, what appears to be the CPU, a number and the brand appears. Renesas. I wanted to go further and got some information in internet regarding the Renesas system, and I discovered that it's a computer able to run an assembly code like this. This is a software inside the motherboard. It's the software who allows the laundry machine, the washing machine working. Interesting. And now I discovered that there's a memory, there's a RAM, there's a CPU, complete CPU. I also discovered there is no operating system because the motherboard, this board is designed to run one software, one program anytime, so at a time. So there's no need to have an operating system, no particular peripherals to manage. There's a static link to standard library and input and output system interfaces. But I didn't know how they are and where they are. Doing some research, some intelligence, some research on internet, I discovered through eBay this board is sold in eBay. It costs 59 euros. Only one person observed by one person. It was me who was looking at this one. So I discovered the motherboard, the board, is the same for several brands of washing machine and dishwashers. Why this is an interesting discovery? Because now I have the picture of the real unit. Doing some additional research, because now I know the brands using the exact codes of the board, I was able to get the picture of the real board. The difference between this one, this collage coming from the various manuals, and the original is now there are labels and signs and pins to connect to the to additional peripheral. This is a standard board. Manuals, once I knew the name of the board, I was able to get the manual and other information. For example, those pins are in the commercial board, not in the specific laundry machine. So I got everything I needed to reprogram the board. In this case, using the GTEC interface, this one, through a Raspberry Pi. At the end, I demonstrate after 1 week of hard work, is it possible to reprogram the washing machine? If you want, you can do further and reprogram every washing machine using, for example, this tool, which is a programmer for motherboards, for specific PLC boards. Theoretically, you must put the CPU inside the socket and interface to the computer. There are 7 different sockets for different brands, for different CPU pinouts. If you don't want to remove the card from your laundry machine, you can do some hacking like this. This is a real board in a real laundry machine. Using those tools, this is the CPU. Using that tool, some hack, solder, and glue, it is possible to reprogram the laundry machine, because after my research, I got all manuals, all documentation, everything. So it is possible to reprogram the laundry machine. Why is it so easy to do that? Not so easy, 1 week. But because I know all laundry machines or washing machines, regardless their brand, model, and feature, mount the same board, standardization, the standardization is the key to reprogram all of them. But after 1 week, what would be the result? You know, activate the washing machine buzzer, spin the centrifuge, nothing more. In other words, spending money and a lot of time results in a very poor result from the hacker point of view. For this reason, the producers do not consider security an issue. But it's not true, because this paper, written by Professor Dino Vezovi, is a teacher at the US university, and I think at the Purdue University. He demonstrated in the paper that if the cost of the attack is less than the value of your information to the attacker, not to you, you will be attacked for sure. In addition, the cost of the attack can be split when there are several, where many or enough number of potential victims are on the way. This is why the mass malware is profitable, because one cause several victims. What is the end of the story? It's okay not to worry about the security of washing machine, but it is not always the case. And now let's go inside the dangerous part of the IoT. Before doing that, I recommend you not to try at home this hack, because it's illegal and dangerous too. This is the solar system power meter. It's connected to the solar cell you may have on your roof, and check how many watts you are putting into the energy network, or which power are you taking out from the energy distribution system for your personal needs. The difference is calculated and affects your energy bill. But what happens if you dismount this unit? Remember, you are not allowed to open this one because they are sealed, and you are committing the fraud if opening this. But imagine that we can do that for a test machine. We'll find inside the Arduino, a standard motherboard. Why? For a company, whatever for an energy company, is it's cost effective, it costs less to reprogram a standard board with your personal software instead of design and produce specialized motherboards. In other words, this is a standard CPU, is able to do a lot of things, including operating the solar system. It is better for the company to use standard boards and personalized software instead of personalized boards. But Arduino is easy to hack. The Arduino development software is free and easy to use. You can reprogram if you want the unit. Let's go underground. This is the underground station. Several monitors showing, some advertisement publicity. They are connected through Wi-Fi because it's less. It costs less instead of having a wire and the cable wire to connect to the various monitors. So each of them is a Wi-Fi unit, is an hotspot with its own IP address. What's the result? Simple hacking and easy to change the program of those TVs. There are several uses in the IoT. Vendors do not think security is an issue. Interfaces are vulnerable. credentials often are hardcoded or nothing. In fact, you don't need to put username and password to access the button on your refrigerator used to order the cheese or milk or whatever. Easy also for physical theft and tampering, like exactly as I did in the energy meter. This is a case study, Trane. The automatic thermostat, very good, internet connected. Is it in many houses? For example, it would be possible through using your telephone, your cell phone, to raise the temperature in your home, or to start the heater or the conditioner, the air conditioning system, before going home, or at a certain time, or according to the weather condition, etc. The system gets data from internet, both surfing the web and to connect to your cell phone. Unfortunately, there is a hole in the software, making an external hacker able to enter into your home network through this system. They had a couple of years to realize that this is a problem and how to fix it. Because the software contains vulnerability, and the version may lie or simply ignore these issues. Patching is not easy because there are millions, and it's not easy to change the software inside an IoT device. You must change and replace the whole system, all unit. Okay, and now let's go to the self-driven cars. What's the matter? In the car industry, there are several points of view. One is the manufacturer's point of view, which is concerned on safety. It only wants not injure people in case of a crash. He is not concerned with security, internet, or hacking, or whatever. This data privacy point of view is concerned to avoid the people like this. In other words, to protect personal information stored in the database is responsible for. There's the point of view of corporate security, concerned only not allowing inside the company not unauthorized people. But what's the cybercrime point of view? We have bandwidth, we have resources, so we can use to start an attack to whatever network. If we were not on a webinar, but just in a standard call, I might ask you, what are they? The answer would be, those are the access points, the simple Wi-Fi access points. They are not. They look like access points. They both come from China. They are able to disseminate malware to device connected to this fake access point. In fact, a close look shows the logo are different from the original one. Slight differences. Those are fake units able to disseminate software. If I do replace my router with this one, or put it in a public area, starting a network Wi-Fi infrastructure to attract people, they connect and receive the malware. Or play illegal games. In the car industry now is a very bad industry because the purpose of the car is to move people from one place to another, and the final purpose would be to have people staying into the car less time as possible and not waste time inside the car. Government industries now the orientation of industry now is to have people staying into the car as long as possible. Why? How? Increasing the congestion without, build larger or more roads to connect various cities, and provide many entertainment systems within the car. So we have a family watching the television, playing, listening to music, etc., because there is Internet of Things into the car. So let's go what happened in the 8th of August on 2013, the Toyota Prius experience. Why that would happen? Because the standards are everywhere. What standards are so important in the car industries and in general for hacking device? This is your car. Regardless the brand, the model of your car, if your car has been made after 2010, the internal structure is exactly like this. A CAN network, the blue one, it's a bus, it's standard connectors. The speed is 1 megabit per second, plus another secondary bus who runs a named FlexRay, high speed, 10 megabit, for critical devices like brakes or steering system. The CAN is a standard network architecture to connect devices like the engine control model, the transmission control model, body control, media interfaces, entertainment systems, etc., produced by different vendors. With the standardization, it's possible in every car to have internal components produced by different companies. That's not good. But what the drawback is? In addition, the car system is able to collect information about the situation of the car, the problems, and everything in order to collect diagnostic messages. And where they are. When you drive your car into the authorized car repair, the same things. When the technician came to my house to repair the washing machine, happened. The technician simply opened a computer, get out a standard probe. The name is J1962. It looks like an old SCART plug for old TVs. The connector, the standard connector, both for physical shape and pin assignment, might be here, next to the brake, or on the left or right, depending where the steer is, next to the clutch pedal of your car. Normally is there. Is the connector. The authorized car repair, using its computer, connects to this one and gets the diagnostic messages. But because it's a standard, what you need to hack with your car is to download from internet, maybe from the dark web, and software emulator, the CAN control software. This is a Windows application to simulate everything, how to get and put data in the CAN bus, plus an interface easy to buy in Alibaba or whatever, to transform signals from the J1962 to USB. Now I am the authorized can repair without being. Because every car uses the same system, I don't care if this is a Ford or a Chrysler or whatever. Same software, same tool, same transcoder, same interface. This is the bad side of standardization. In addition, the diagnostic messages and the key messages are very easy. It's like an IP identifier, a couple of control fields, plus data. What's the result? This one. This was the first hack to the car, the famous Prius experience. What happened in this case? It was very easy. Using a software, a tool like this, we reprogrammed the software into the car, simply inverting data coming from the left and right sensor for the line assisting system. That car mounts a sensor system who reads the distance between the car and the line and the lane. The lane edge, for example. Exactly depends on what kind of road, right, or the mid lines. If the car, for some reason, is diverting to the left or to the right, automatically the system receives the inputs from the sensor and provides an automatic steering on the opposite side to keep the car in line. But because we inverted the sensor, when the car starting to moving to the left, the system believes it's moving, is leaving the road on the right. So starting a left turn, resulting in, we show later, in this one. This happened simply because 2 bytes in the software were exchanged each other. This is the system I showed. This one is this one. Very easy to inject information within the car, within the CAN bus. Those are the real software from the real authorized car repair system. This is the fake one. Same objective. I don't need to buy this specific software. Why this could happen? Because authentication. There's nothing. And that was the result. But things are much more interesting. Many cars are equipped with the Wi-Fi for help and to entertain users. So you put your SIM card inside this tunnel. Your car connects to using a 3G or 4G to the telephone network, providing a Wi-Fi for people staying into the car. Interesting. But because the Wi-Fi provided by the car is a free Wi-Fi, since we expect people connecting are friends, they're supposed to be friends of the car owner, there's no need to authenticate them, providing username and password. So if I try to scan using a map the network, the Wi-Fi network provided from the car, I discover very interesting open ports. For example, the IRC, the internet channel, an execution server, the telnet, and the SSH maybe. So I can connect the car. That is why this happened. Because the car manufacturer believes no one will try to connect to the Wi-Fi using a computer, or and the people so skilled to connect to the car using the telnet or other software instead of just surfing the web. Therefore, no security has been provided, and all doors are open. Because the entertainment system can start software, start programs, because it should be an interactive software, since in the using Wi-Fi, our kids can play, share games, do online games, connect their own devices, for example, or download, we do a lot of things. It's possible to start software. Now, I have everything for an easy software able to, in this case, just execute a command like this, which is nothing. When it shows the IP address. But if I wanted, I could put this software in my terminal, open the connection to the car using this one, start the software, and instead of netcat, remove everything, or do something with the CAN-BUS and destroy the system or cause an accident. But finally, we are going close to the end of the presentation. We have done something more. The car connects to internet through the telephone line. So the car is a unit, and is seen by the network like a telephone. For example, Sprint. Let's go back. Let's go to Alibaba and buy this tool. The fan to sell is a unit able to create a cell for the telephone line. In other words, this unit is the equivalent of the standard cellular antennas you see everywhere on the roof buildings, or in the countries, or whatever. This is a cell which might be connected to my PC. Suppose I park my car with this system in a solitary parking lot, for example, on a highway next to a gas station, or a bar, or a pub, or whatever, where no other cells, no other antennas are. If a car comes and tries to connect to the telephone line, not to internet, to telephone line, the closest antenna the telephone discovers is my antenna, this one, because this one is seen as a cell Sprint antenna cell unit from the car. And the car connects to my fin to cell to provide internet connectivity. So my software creates the hotspot and does anything I want to the car. For example, connect to the car, run the software, install data, etc., etc. If in the future, it can, if I want, I may replace the PC with a cell phone, making something more portable and reliable. So what this is a very small, is a tiny unit. It's about like this. Plus a phone, everything is my pocket, and I became a fake cell antenna for a telephone against a telephone company. What you need is the car interface and to know how the car interface works. Because if you don't know how the car interface works, you are not able to hack the car interface and modify data or create harm for the software for the car itself. But have a look inside. This is the car interface here, control unit. Have a look inside this unit, which is standard. All cars mount the same. It's a Renesas. Exactly the same unit mounted on my washing machine. So the result is your wash machine is a car. Same unit, only the software is different. But if you know how to hack the wash machine, you're able to hack the car. And in fact, a lot of documentation exists to do that. You can modify using the software into the system, and it was the result for the classroom. How those happened? Last 5 minutes. Let's move back to the famous CILLI Impala experiment. 2010, remember. Two researchers from the University of California in San Diego fought against the Chevrolet Impala. It's a car with the CAN bus. CAN bus injection, that was the result. Simply modifying few bytes into the database. In other words, they took control over the entire system, simply modified a few bytes into the software. Everything. This experiment of the Ford and Toyota, 2013. Ford Escape, Toyota Prius, we saw before. What they did? Everything. And I was able to reproduce the experiment with the Chevrolet, with the Cherokee. They published the result and they explained how easy it is to hack the software in whatever car you want. What were the reaction of the companies? This attack, this is what Ford, Chrysler, and Toyota said. This particular attack was not performed remotely of the air, but a highly aggressive direct physical manipulation of one vehicle. So this wouldn't be a risk for the customers. In other words, the car manufacturer believes security is preventing physical access to the car, to some car units, especially to the bus. That is the belief of company producers. But it is not sufficient because cars are connected, remote control. brakes, Bluetooth, antenna and profile, digital audio. A lot of ports are open into the car, and they are all connected. So we ended with the Jeep Cherokee experiment. The same people against the Cherokee, using the tool I show you, they were able to modify the engine behavior, brake and power steering, like I did. Everything was performed directly through internet using the cell, the phone to cell, or directly through internet without any modification to the vehicle. No physical access. The Grand Cherokee was worse, because since the car mounts a lot of units, they were able to do much worse things. Using simply accessing the infotainment system. How long did it take? A couple of days to understand the software, an additional day to perform the task. And it was the end. Okay, let's have a look at the future. This is the Tesla autopilot system who reconnect lanes and assist control by identifying road and machine. But using the research, it was proved that placing an interference stickers on the road, the autopilot will capture that information and make a normal judgment. Some recommendation. Awareness and awareness. Consider the IoT system nothing different than your personal computer. We do a lot of security analysis, security management, threat modeling on our network, on our computer. We do nothing for the embedded device network. They must be considered like your PC. That's it, nothing more. Remember, the IoT system may be everywhere. Inside a plug, inside a switch, on the light switch, inside your boiler, inside the refrigerator. As a minimum, an inventory of the T devices surrounding you is mandatory. And then consider to be in relation only to vendors who consider security an issue and not a thing to avoid. If you understand what's IoT, you get a lot of benefit. You do not, you are in real danger. So I promised to end in 1 hour, and so I did. And I hope, unfortunately, I cannot see you, but I hope you are not in the position those people are. It's my standard presentation ending. So I will thank you for listening to me, and I'm now open for the remaining 15 or 20 minutes for question and answer if you may have. I think Dalim now wants to come back and moderate the question and answer session. Did you enjoy the presentation, Dalim?
Oh, sorry, I was
Your mic is off. Dalimi, your mic is not working.
Okay, well, let's go through the questions. So we've got a few questions starting to come in now. Okay, the first question from Olu. Is another problem the embedded devices don't conform to RFC standards or handle gray areas very well, e.g. buffer overflows?
Yes, in fact, the problem is the standardization. The issue is if if the standards are adopted, life is easier for hackers because they simply need to understand few standards and few devices to be able to hack everything. Unfortunately, this is the only way we have, because design specialized devices for all needs result in a growth of costs and competencies need. Therefore, standardization is not possible to avoid standardization. We must consider the security as an issue. The same is happens for our PCs. We don't have hundreds of operating systems, only 2 or 3: Linux, Windows, the Apple OS X. If we had 1,000 different operating systems, it would be harder for hackers to understand the specific one we are using and to perform an attack. Instead, knowing only a couple of operating systems, mainly Windows, life is easier for attackers, but it's impossible to avoid. Otherwise, we had the companies produce, the software companies need to produce different versions of your program in order to have their software able to run in the different computers. So my answer is standards are not good for security, but impossible to avoid. We simply need to consider them.
Okay, great. We've got quite a long question from Kevin. PCs are vulnerable to a malware attack on UEFI. This can attack before anti-malware or OS can intervene. If I follow you correctly, IoT is so vulnerable through the CAN interface that it has similar vulnerabilities, and these may offer a way into the network. Is it a time for regulatory security standards for IoT, especially the auto industry with the advancement of autonomous vehicles?
Yes. In fact, actually, there are no standards, especially for security, no regulations. Even the privacy law is hard to apply for IoT devices, because an IoT does not collect personal information. So a single embedded device does not fall into the GDPR regulation, but the embedded device network falls into the GDPR because they collect personal information. What I mean, it's time to order the thing, to put order into the embedded device system before it will be too late. Time for governments and for industries to define standards, security standards, not only interface standards, and start considering security part of the software development for embedded devices, like we do for the normal and for the standard PCs.
Okay, thanks. I think I can hear Dalim. Is your microphone back?
Yes, hi there.
Hi, we can hear you now.
That's great. David, please carry on. This is going great.
Okay, the next question. Are VPNs the answer?
It might be, but I don't know if VPN is possible to. It's not. It's hard and not always possible to use a VPN for embedded devices, because embedded devices are small, without many features, in general, they are not able to make use of cryptography. So the power of the embedded data today, is not sufficient for VPN and cryptography in general. It might be, but it's not a practical way.
Okay. Okay, the next question from Frederick. Can you give an overview of how the industry can deal with the safety of self-driving cars and protect them from hacking?
Actually, for my knowledge, the industry is still not considering security an issue, software security an issue for the car. They are more concerned into the in adding features, entertainment system, devices, and security is, it is not into the car manufacturer's DNA. They are still not considering security. For example, the difference between Chrysler, BMW, Ford software is only the GUI, the interface. The software is the same. Therefore, I might put a sign in front of my garage saying I am an official authorized car repair for different brands, simply using the same software. Actually, in terms of security industry, the car industry is very, very late respect to the computer manufacturers, computer industry. And the situation is still the same. So be careful when you buy a self-driven car or a car with a lot of features like entertainment system, infotainment, etc. Check the specification and the literature specific of the model you are buying. That's my recommendation.
Okay, great. Question from Tom. Do you quantify security objectives before architecting the systems, or do you just react as you go along?
Actually, it's a reaction. No one is quantifying. In fact, it's not easy to quantify the vulnerability and the real need for security. An example, many people have a Google Home or Alexa system. We know nothing about them. Are they recording everything happening around them, including our speeches, or not? In case they are doing that, what is the destiny of the information they're getting? I know if you activate the system, they immediately respond. That means that they are continuing listening to you, waiting for the activation voice control, a call or whatever. So it's quite normal they are recording everything. Actually, we don't know. Very poor information exists. The researchers, security researchers, are not considering the potentiality of IoT devices in terms of security and vulnerability countermeasures. We are very young in this field.
Okay, a question from Andy. Are embedded devices sensitive to strong RF signals?
Say again, sorry?
Are embedded devices sensitive to strong RF signals, radio frequency, I think?
Maybe. It depends on which kind of devices are you using, you're considering. Sometimes they do. Not so strong. If you are concerned again regarding the safety, no problem. there are a lot of fake news regarding how dangerous the cell phones are, but it's not proven they are more dangerous than the standard cosmic radiation. The power in the embedded devices is very, very low. So the electromagnetic emanation is not an issue. The real danger is the internet connectivity.
Okay, great. A question from Ali. What's the best method to teach these concepts to our students, the undergraduates and the postgraduates?
This is a very good question. I believe is to show examples like the ones I provide now and explain where the dangers from the IoT device comes and start teaching the common safety rules we do when dealing with the internet. In other words, we spend now a lot of time teaching our kids how to beware from the dangers coming from internet, not to post pictures or moving on Facebook and YouTube. And we know, how to recognize the fake news, how not to disclose your personal information because they might be used against you in the future. But we do not teach anything about the dangers coming from the IoT systems. They must be part of the general security program and spending some few lessons to explain benefits and constraints coming from the IoT devices. Everything is to be defined, built. There are no program courses, nothing at the moment.
Okay, great. The next question from Faris. Is there any ISO or IEC standards for IoT at all?
Not defined at the moment, but some studies from the IOS and the ISO committee are undertaken. Probably in the near future, we'll have some ISO standards. Not today, but I know they are working. So I expect some standard to cover few aspects of the IoT devices. I don't know whether security will be included in the first generation standards. The hope is they will, but I'm not sure about this. Anyway, expect some standard in the next 2-3 years.
Okay. The next question from Srilatha. IoT devices should have a built-in security chip which protects against tampering the data. Is that something that's feasible?
Yeah. Feasible is feasible. My concern is the cost, because the objective of the embedded device is to cost as less as possible. So adding additional chips to provide security, cryptography, etc., might increase the cost of the system and the overall the volume of the unit itself. So theoretically it's feasible. It's advisable. Practically, I'm not sure it will be possible in the near future.
Okay, the next question is, what are your views on the NIS directive?
It's a directive. Might be better diffused. It does not compass. It's the first attempt to put some order, nothing more. I can say better than nothing. Okay.
Okay, the next question from Basil. With the millions of IoT devices, would the hardware manufacturers or the embedded software be responsible for IoT security?
again, which kind of software is responsible for what? Say again, sorry.
Would the hardware manufacturers or the embedded software creators be responsible for the security?
They are responsible for security because security is a feature from the hardware or software manufacturer. It's important to consider that regardless of what happens for the PCs and the computer industry, hardware, software, and the embedded analysts are not separated. The hardware and the software producer are the same person. Because what happens now is the company buys standard boards and develops the software for the standard boards. In this case, the responsibility for security is for the company. In other cases, there are standard IoT boards sold to different companies. In this case, responsibility is for the board manufacturer. Mostly, this is the case where the boards, the manufacturer of the boards is responsible for security. An example: the Arduino board is a general purpose PLC controller, programmable controller, like the Raspberry, which is a general purpose tiny PC. Security must be inside the software of those PC. What I mean, Arduino is a programming, is a development system. It's up to you who buys the Arduino system to put security feature into the software. The company simply provides a possibility to include software or hardware features inside your unit. It's up to you to do that. In my point of view, the only responsibility for board manufacturer is when the software or the firmware of the board does not provide, the security feature. And this is true only for a few cases. The paradigm is different. Other software are the same for the board, for the manufacturer point side. It's complicated, but we need to start considering IoT different from hardware software for a PC, but the same from the security point of view.
Okay, thanks. Can you suggest a source of knowledge and training materials regarding the security of embedded systems and the Internet of Things?
There are a lot of sources of information for the IoT, very few sources of information regarding the security of IoT. What I recommend is simply do an internet search. I don't think there are books. I don't have specific books or literature regarding the IoT, security for IoT. Many researches are ongoing in some university. Maybe if you do a search into the academia field or scientific repositories, some information might be retrieved. But again, we are at the beginning of the path. Really at the beginning, there is space and room for everybody wants to be involved in developing standards and technology for the IoT. It's open. If people are interested, please do.
Hi, Claudio, this is Dalim. I know that ISACA has a number of white papers and so on IoT. That might be one starting point.
Yes, they are, but not for security. Because unfortunately, IoT security is still not considered an issue. It's a custom matter. Sometimes, technology must be how can I say, digest. If people are so, caution when using a PC, when typing, when surfing the net after a lot of articles, news, and problems. And they are so insane. We're dealing with the IoT systems. It's a matter of costume. Probably there are no serious accidents happened. After all, I show you the terrible experiment involved in the Chrysler car. But at the end, no article, no news, no newspaper, no magazine mentioned this problem. They are not, they're not being promoted as mass information deserving the first or second page of a newspaper.
Yes, not like aircraft crashes.
Exactly. But if you look inside an aircraft, you find about 10,000 different CPUs into the aircraft. That means, consider only of these device fails, a big crash happens. But we are still working with no security in the airplane software. If I wanted, if I had some time, I would modify the software of the airplanes that you hopefully in the future will be able to take and do whatever I want, even controlling the flight simulator at home. And the producer, the manufacturer are still not considering the software. In fact, I don't know how many people are are able to drive, to fly in aircraft. But you have to learn to study and to learn a lot of commands, a lot of information, but nothing regarding security. If I climb on an airplane cockpit, if I know how to do that, I can start the engine and take off without any security. The airplane does not recognize who I am, if I'm authorized to fly the aircraft. Simply, once I am on board, I can fly. It's an issue. It's a real issue.
Okay. Do you know of a method or standard for quantifying the degree of security in a system?
No, standards, there are no standards. The only things I recommend is to consider the IT devices as part of the overall network and include into the network perimeter. So when you audit the security of a network security, do not forget to make an inventory of the embedded devices which are included into the network. Simply start with this point. Make an inventory of the IoT devices working into the company you are considering, you are analyzing. Simply start with this. No one does.
Okay. What about security and standardization of devices implanted inside the human body, especially those who can release medication, manipulate human senses such as sight, and assist in human mobility?
Yes, it's an issue. Again, the one in considering is the last frontier for writers. For example, again, probably it is my personal point of view, but it's very I'm very critical against it. The healthcare environment, the healthcare industries are concerned with the personal data managed by the healthcare units, including the GDPR or the healthcare standards. They are only focused on how to manage, secure manage patient informations, patient health data, in order not to disclose illnesses or health problems they may have, but they are not concerned about the reliability of the software and the device mounted into the probes and healthcare system, for example, telemedicine or RX units or tax systems, etc. Hackers now are working against those. Is it possible, for example, to hack the image protocol used by telemedicine systems? The name is RISTAC. It has been considered hack-proof since a couple of years ago, and then it has been demonstrated it's possible to alter the images coming from a PAC machine in order not to show a tumor or to show a tumor when you are not affected of it. This is a tremendous impact because this makes the reliability of the healthcare systems very low. Imagine I hack the software on of a pet maker, of a heart rate monitoring system. I can simulate or create a heart attack simply pressing right on my keyboard. That's terrible. And still, the healthcare industry still is not considering this an issue because they believe you need to enter into the hospital and hack manually the machine, without considering those machines are all connected today with internet as a minimum to retrieve the firmware and software updates. I'm scared.
Okay. Do the IoT connections which use satellites, are they more secure than Wi-Fi and 5G?
No, the problem is that 5G is faster. That means more bandwidth. That means easy to perform an attack. So the problem is not the 5G by itself. The problem is the 5G, increase the chances to successfully complete an attack in a short time. By the way, I remember the telephone has been designed to place call, not to surf internet, to play online games, to watch a movie. After all, why 5G? Not for make better calls, I suppose. Am I right?
Okay, so that's the end of the question. So I'll hand back to Dalim.
Okay, thank you very much, David. And a few closing words from me, I guess. That was really fascinating, Claudio, as usual. And amongst the other things that I see that somebody has got his hand up and has had for 75 minutes, and that's Alex Rogers. Alex, are you there? And did you want to say something? If yes, can we unmute him? But we need something from Alex to say he does want to speak.
No, I don't actually.
Okay, that's fine. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Yes, I did.
Great. And likewise, we have hands raised from Joy Kokogo and also from Tom Gilb, but those were just for 1 second each. Did you want to say anything? And incidentally, let me just blow your cover, Tom. Tom is a international and very well established expert on various kinds of measurement software methods, etc., etc. He is indeed a guru. But Tom, you raised your hand, and so did Joy. Did either of you want to say anything?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
Tom, we can.
Oh, okay. Because yes, I view Professor Claudio Cilli's answers to my questions about quantifying security as sort of a no answer. So I'm going to email to him some information on quantifying security, which I hope he finds interesting.
Thank you
Great.
very much.
Yeah, that's great. Joy, did you want to say anything? Joy Kokogo?
See. I can't see her in here.
Okay, it's J Kokogo. Look for J.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, so no, I didn't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, that's great too. Okay, well, in terms of my closing questions and points, my head is actually fairly full of questions at the moment because I'm worrying about IoT and things like satellites, missiles, drones, and mines. If I was a bad guy and I wanted to connect up a whole load of mines and things so that in the same analogy as your cars going by IoT sensors and one triggering another and picking up signals from the next and all that sort of stuff, God, this could be really scary, couldn't it? Okay, I'll take that as a given. Yeah, but also, I just want to give you some feedback in terms of the question I asked at the start, which is about, hi, are you from London? In which case, great. And if not, which other countries are you from other than the UK? Well, disappointingly, we have nobody online from the US. I guess they must be busy with something else that's big that's going on over there. I've forgotten what it is now. But we do have people from the Czech Republic, from Portugal, from Italy, from Spain, and interestingly, from the UAE, which I know, Claudio, you are associated with in some ways, and also from Muscat in Oman. And that person in Muscat, Oman, is somebody who has made questions and points online, and that is Srilatha. Srilatha, I believe you are actually doing a PhD on IoT. Is that correct? Is Srilatha there, and can we unmute her? No? Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I've unmuted
I'm
it.
here.
Hi, Srilatha. If you want to, do comment further on your point that you've made that currently you're working on a PhD, you're doing research on a PhD, that is to say, on developing security systems on chips for
Yes,
IoT. Yeah? Tell us
yes.
a little bit more if you would.
Actually, I'm a student of University of Gloucestershire, UK.
That's not in Muscat, Oman.
Yes, sir. Currently I'm working here in Muscat. I'm a
Right.
lecturer here, and
Mhm.
I'm working as a part-time. I'm a part-time research student.
Fabulous, fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, hope
Now,
you've got
my
them.
idea of my research is I'm going to develop a cryptographic algorithm and incorporate that algorithm in a security chip, fabrication of security chip, which is including cryptographic algorithm.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are many standard cryptographic algorithm are available, but these are designed for network security. But now I'm going to use the same cryptographic algorithm, which is very light algorithm and which gives us I mean, good processing speed as well.
Well, this sounds really exciting, and all
Yeah.
the more so because you mentioned cryptography and so on, and we had an expert in cryptography online, well, to be more exact, on forensics and cryptoforensics and so on, and that was Sanjoy Sharma, and I don't know if he's still there, but if you would like Srilatha, to send us your email, I can put you in touch with Sanjoy Sharma about his expertise as well.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And also,
Okay.
I would like to request Professor CLAUDIO CILLI I think he had a very good idea on embedded system devices and security attacks as well. If he could provide me some guidance as well, if I communicate with him in the email, like to know about more at various types of attacks on embedded devices.
Okay, Claudio, are you happy too?
Yes, of course.
Fantastic.
Considering I
Fantastic.
spent 1 year, in Muscat
Wow.
working with the. Yes, I stayed in your city for 1 year last year on
Mhm.
all 2019 before the lockdown. As the responsible for cybersecurity at the OIG at Oman Airports. It was a
Wow.
very nice experience.
Yes. I work here
Great.
with Ministry of Defense.
Oh, great.
Okay, you'd better not say any more than that, I think.
No.
But that sounds really, really interesting. Okay,
Yes,
well, this is our networking in action, but there are some challenges there. And I know we had a number of people online from our BCS IRMA group, Information Risk Management Association. So, hey guys, come on, get doing some research and write some learned papers and some things on IoT. Let's get the ball rolling in terms of IoT and security. Sounds like a worthwhile subject. Okay, well, let's wrap up now. It's now, let's see, 12 minutes past 8. And I hope you've had a good experience. I hope you've enjoyed this session. We have our next session on blockchain on December the 2nd, to which you're very welcome to register and come. We have had, I gave you some figures at the start, so I ought to give you feedback on that as well. We had just under 170 people online. I think it was 168 people online for this session. And I hope you really enjoyed it. I know I did too, and really look forward to seeing more of you in the BCS. If you're not a member of the BCS, then do check it out. Do join more of our groups. Come to IRMA sessions, come to Central London, North London, and all of the other super BCS group sessions that are available free. But above all, do become part of our community. Do join BCS and us. And like Claudio has done, we hope you find it a very worthwhile experience. So thank you very much. Just be aware that the security level in the UK has just been raised to severe. So stay safe, stay well, and look after those around you. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Fantastic, Claudio. Thank you.
Thanks, Darren.